I declare that the 513th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Dr. David Wilkinson, the Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. This afternoon I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming you all to Convocation ceremonies. Before we start our official program, may I first ask that everyone in the hall please switch off any electronic device that may ring, beep, or otherwise disturb the solemnity of this procession. I would now like to call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Linton Wilson, to make his opening welcoming remarks.
Very good afternoon to you all. President, Vice Chancellor, Provost, Dean Waverman, our honorary graduate, members of the Platform Party, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this 513th Convocation of McMaster University. To our graduands, congratulations on your successes, on reaching an important milestone, an exciting milestone in your lives. Many of you will begin careers, embarking on new journeys. Some of you will be continuing your education, training, or preparation for more advanced or specialized activities. Very best of luck to each and every one of you. To the parents, grandparents, family members, spouses, and friends here today, I invite you to take a bow as well. You can be proud of the roles you have played in the accomplishments being recognized in this convocation. To our faculty and staff, today marks tangible recognition of your efforts, particularly the successes of your students evident in this ceremony. Thank you and congratulations. This is a day of celebration. I wish you all an enjoyable afternoon. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Dr. Patrick Dean, McMaster's President and Vice Chancellor, who will be presenting our honorary degree recipient.
Mr. Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Mario Cupido. For nearly 5.5 decades, Mario Cupido has been one of Hamilton's most prominent realtors and developers, having joined the Realtors Association of Hamilton, Burlington, of Ontario, and of Canada in 1959. With the Realtors Association of Hamilton, Burlington, he served as a director for 12 years, including years as vice president and president. He has remained actively engaged with the association through membership on the Discipline Committee, Bylaw Committee, Arbitration Committee, Scholarship Fund Committee, and the Honorary Life Membership Committee, a committee he has chaired for more than 2 decades. He was also an associate member of the Real Estate Advisory Committee at Mohawk College through the 1970s. His extensive professional credentials also include membership in the International Real Estate Association, the Worldwide Professional Real Estate Appraisers, the College of Real Estate Appraisers, and the Canadian National Association of Real Estate Developers. In recognition of his service to his profession, Mr. Cupido was granted honorary life membership in the Realtors Association of Hamilton Burlington and received life membership in the Canadian Professional Sales Association. As successful as Mr. Cupido has been in real estate, however, his greatest legacies will likely be the result of his work in Hamilton's non-profit, sport, healthcare, and education sectors. He was a long-serving member of the board of directors of the Hamilton Good Shepherd Center, where he was instrumental in establishing the Harvest Dinner, which now earns close to $150,000 annually for the organization's work for people in need. He has been significantly involved with the YMCA of Hamilton, Burlington, Brantford, serving as a building fund campaign captain nearly 40 years ago as the YMCA developed its downtown Hamilton facility. The organization has since recognized him with honorary life membership. Mr. Cupido has also been deeply involved with the Hamilton Wentworth Roman Catholic Separate School Board, where he was an elected trustee for 13 years and vice chair of the board in 1994. He was a longtime member of the Board of Governors of the Catholic High Schools, and in 1982 was the director of the Bishop's Campaign for Secondary Schools. He is currently the community representative on the St. Margaret Mary Catholic School Council. An honorary life member of the CYO, Mr. Cupido served on that organization's board of directors, as well as distinguished his service through the creation of the now landmark annual CYO Celebrity Sports Dinner. In 2009, he was a founding board member of the Hamilton Sports Hall of Fame, and he was later inducted into the hall as the co-owner of the legendary Canadian Memorial Cup hockey champions, the Hamilton FinCups. As a dedicated volunteer in Hamilton's healthcare sector, Mr. Cupido was a member of the St. Joseph's Healthcare Foundation Board of Directors for a decade and chairman of the foundation's annual fundraising golf tournament for 24 years and counting. He is also a dedicated supporter of the Kidney Foundation of Hamilton and of McMaster University, the alma mater of all 4 of his children. In 2012, Mr. Cupido was awarded the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. Mr. Chancellor, Mario Cupido is a keystone member of the Hamilton community, whose contributions to and leadership in real estate, sport, and public service are remarkable for both their significance and their longevity. I ask that you confer upon Mr. Cupido the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa in recognition of his continuing work to strengthen the character, capacity, and accomplishments of our city.
Mario Cupido, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa in McMaster University with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Come and sign the register. It is now my pleasure to call upon Dr. Cupido to deliver the Convocation address. Dr. Cupido.
Thank you very much. Thank you. President Dean, Chancellor Wilson, Dean Waverman, distinguished faculty, staff, alumni, parents, grandparents, family, and friends, and above all, the graduating class of 2013. Let me tell you before I begin, my dear grandson witnessed the effort that I've put into this little speech, and he commented that it would have been much easier for me to get a real doctorate. It is indeed an honor to stand before you today. I am truly humbled to have received this Doctor of Laws honorary degree from such an esteemed institution and joining such distinguished former recipients as Senator David Braley, former Chancellor Mel Hockrig, businessmen Ron Foxcroft and Arthur Wise, all of whom I greatly respect. Today, I also join my former Cathedral High schoolmates, Charles Juravinsky and Jack Pellick, in receiving this honor. You know, you would have gotten long odds on that trifecta back in the 40s. I never dreamt that ordinary service to my community, contributions I consider to be good citizenship, would lead to such extraordinary recognition. Unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to attend McMaster University as an undergraduate. Nevertheless, Mac is a place that is very close to my heart. Both my wife and I completed our real estate appraisal courses here in the 1970s. All four of my children attended this fine institution and have collectively earned 10 degrees between them. Two of my daughters have remained a part of this community. Cynthia is the pediatric intensivist and full-time associate professor in the Faculty of Health Sciences. Colleen is a physiotherapist and clinic manager, as well as an assistant clinical professor at the David Braley Sports Medical Center. Four of my grandchildren are currently MAC students. I got 7 more on the way coming. My grandson Joey is a defensive back on the great Marauders football team, and as an avid fan, I never miss a game. And you know, it gave me immense satisfaction last season when we were able to beat up on Western twice in 1 year. Chancellor, may I keep that hat? I want to wear it to all the games next season. For a person born to Italian immigrants in the north end of Hamilton at the height of the Great Depression, it is truly remarkable for me to be standing before you here today. At the age of 17, after graduating from Cathedral High School, I took a job, because out of necessity, at a neighborhood hardware store, which I eventually owned. After a devastating fire destroyed my business, I pursued a career in real estate. To this day, 54 years later, I continue to be a real estate broker and appraiser in Hamilton, and I still can't wait to open my office door every morning. To the graduating class of 2013, let me convey my heartiest congratulations. We are all here today to celebrate your accomplishments. You're off to a great start, but please know this is really just the beginning. There will be more achievements, and yes, adversity, challenges, and maybe even outright rejections. That's okay. I have failed many times, and quite often, these were my most valuable learning experiences. To paraphrase baseball legend Ted Williams, a baseball player who fails to hit 7 out of 10 times still can find a place in the Hall of Fame. As we celebrate your success today, please remember how blessed and fortunate you are to have received your education from McMaster University. With your success comes responsibility and an obligation to those who are less advantaged. Always remember to reach out to those in need and always remain willing to help. Cultivate the skills you acquired at McMaster to lift the human spirit: civility, kindness, empathy, consideration, integrity, and courtesy. Most importantly, respect the dignity in all others, especially in those who have the least. Many of you have family here today, or loving friends who care about you deeply. Their sacrifices and support help to make this day possible. Graduation is probably a bigger deal for them than it is for you. Thank them and allow them to revel in your success. Throughout your journey, surround yourself with those you love and never, never take them for granted. Your family, loved ones, and yes, your McMaster family also will be there in person or in spirit through every step you take. The best advice that I can give you is to seek balance in your life: family, work, and community. For me, my fulcrum was Anne, my dear wife of 54 years, who passed away suddenly this past January. She was the stable, balancing force in my existence, and I am absolutely certain that she is the reason that I am here today. All of my personal and professional successes are attributed to her unconditional support and her ability to manage me, our family, and our home. As for my community involvements, whether it be junior hockey, Catholic education, the CYO, the Good Shepherds, YMCA, or any of the many other organizations that I have been fortunate to be involved in, they have all played an integral part of who I am today and have contributed to the balance in my life. Your future success will be determined by the balance you find in your life. I'd like to close now with a little true story. An immigrant came to Canada almost penniless. He borrowed a small amount of money as a down payment on his very first home, which was his pride and glory. In the turmoil of the Great Depression, he lost his job, was unable to find another, and was faced with the reality of losing his home. He applied at City Hall when he heard garbage collectors were being hired. However, they wouldn't even consider him for the job when they found out that he was illiterate. Dejected, he returned to his home and he put it up for sale. To his surprise, he sold the house within days, paid off his loan, and left with a healthy profit. With still no employment, he started buying old houses, fixing them, and reselling them. He took calculated risks and worked extremely long hours. After several years, he became a very wealthy man, and he decided to buy some life insurance to protect his assets. When the insurance man brought him the forms, he couldn't read them. The agent was shocked and said to him, "Wow, imagine what you could have accomplished if only you had learned to read and write." In broken English, the man replied with a twinkle in his eyes, "Yes, I would have been a garbage man." Always remember, education is a wonderful thing. However, it can never stand in isolation without hard work and determination. I thank you for your attention. I wish you nothing but the best and enjoy your journey along the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cupido, for those inspirational and heartwarming remarks. And thank you as well for the example of your life and service to this community of Hamilton and your success as a business person. I hope you have many more years to enjoy it all. Thank you again.
Dr. Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit you to your individual degrees in McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all.
Please be seated. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, may I also request that you confer the appropriate degrees in absentia upon all those candidates who have successfully completed the required course of study, but who are not present.
I declare all these degrees conferred in absentia.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduates, you would hold your applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. James Chauhan. Jeffrey John McNally. Jeffrey James Pittaway. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree of Master of Business Administration. Uday Abi. Anis Abdul Khalik. Jivan Jagat Adusumeli. Oluwada Milola Adrinola Agilore. Kamran Akram. Abdul Ahad Ansari. Dustin David Armstrong. Sumandeep Kaur Olak. Stephen Jeffrey Bain. Chavez Banuri. Jennifer Lee Barber. Sohail Bashir. Richard Bassendale. Samanjeet Bhattal. Monica Birdie. Derek Blonsky. Carlos Jonathan Cabrero. Jiachi Kai. Sarah Elizabeth Campbell. Warren Campbell. Duncan Chan. Savinder Kaur Chanana. Wei-Wen Chang. Huying Chen. Long Chen. Melissa Chen. Jesse Gordon James Connor. Lana Dabo. Nalini Dadwal. Rong Dai. Lisa Dang. Brittany Davis. Harjeet Dami. Wen Dong. James Dudomin. Kim Dwyer. Abir Fatima. Shini Fang. Michael Philip Fong. Ian Fu. Elish Forbes. Michael Christopher Formosa. Joseph Marcus Fotia. Li Fu. And Adam Anthony Garnkars. Adam Conrad Gadinsky. Jonathan Ryan Gear. Varun George Palakan. Kerry Goss. Arsalan Hamidi. Chen Han. Ji Han. Heather Jean Hartman. Ifat Hussain. Vanessa Lynn Hutchinson. Syed Daniel Haider, Ahmad Jamil, Gurjot Kaur Jassi, Eric Joyce, Adil Sarauddin Merali Juma, Aarti Kapoor, Sultan Karachiwala, Farooq Khan, Muhammad Amir Khan, Dimple Khurana, Kamran Karmani, Gordon Clark, Paula Kochesh, Jasleen Kohar, Danny Lachman, Geraldine Leung, Claire Alexandra Leland, Lingyu Lee, Deepika Delilah Lobo, Jessica Logozo, Stephanie Lowe, Bradley J. Luque, Christine Irene McDonald, Lindsay McLean, Dana Mendowski, Arun Kumar Manikundalam, Michael James Master Louisi, Robert Ian Andrew McGuinness, Andrew Stephen McLean, Carol Ann McLean, Sean Andrew McQuaid, Hina Naeem, Trisha Umeko Nakagawa, Braden Nicholas Nowakowski, Benjamin William Oliver, Nicholas Keith Owen, Daniel Pachito, Ajant Pakiaraja, Shwan Pan, Gangadeep Singh Pandar, Nipa Pandya, Salima Panjwani, Anita Patel, Wanjon Pang, Veru Pang, Xiulen Chen, Matthew James Rajnath, Priyam Renderia, Kumi Rao, Adam Patrick Reed, Alyssa Riddell, Jonathan Arthur Robbins, Daniel Christopher Ryan, Usman Sajid, Jaganveer Sandhu, Sean Sanduja, Vanessa Santaguda, Sanket Sao, Nicholas Slaughter, Timothy Skocking, Ratika Sehgal, Ryan Scott Sadler, Felipe Sinistera, Tushar Sharma, Chen Shen, Ji Shi, Aisha Siddiqui, Arif Siddiqui, Nicole Ann Simmons, Vijay Robin Somers, Wenting Song, Vasu Sood, Nadeem Sumar, Saif Sayed, Martin Terlecki, Adam Tom, Alex Ting, Victoria Angela Ray Hippolito Tuason, Yan Wang, Dana Patricia Wheeler, Patrick Wong, Andrew Douglas Woods, Chen Xiu Shu, Pinshan Shu, Yucheng Yang, Gao Jiang, Amber Jiang, Vivi Zhang. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree of Master of Health Management. Karen Allison Bailey, Colleen Janet Flynn, Caroline Gill, Joanne Guizzo, Allison Howard, Kathy Hoyles, Heather Marin, Aaron Keeley Miller, Sheila Popov, Maria Elizabeth Rotundi, Barbara Ruth Rutan.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Commerce Honors. Gillian Abramson. Alma Chinia Ashino. Jeffrey Michael Allen. Daniel Angeloni. Lauren Elizabeth Antonucci. Seha Aquil. Lauren Aruda. Veronica Bach. Pallavi Balakrishnan. Michael Adam Ballis. Eric Brian Ban. Alexandra Zaya Beneficius. Erika Marina Battaglia. Eric Battiston. Solana B. Patrick Christopher Belfry. Leslie Eileen Bell. Hannah Frances Bergen. Gregory William Best. Shekhar Badwaj. Nikki Binepal. Daniel Dominic Bitondo. Spencer David James Blake. Stephanie Bolchak. Angelina Seening Bong. Jasleen Kaur Bopari. Andrea Marie Boss. Sukhdeep Singh Bra. Amanda Erin Braun. Derek James Brenzel. Jawad Khalid Butt. Larissa Calderon. Celeste M. Cancelia. Jonathan Andrew Candeloro. Ashley Daniel Capone. Chelsea Lynn Cartwright. Daniela Castelli. Amanda Cattle. Marcel Lawrence Seminara. Janet Chang. Annie Nicole Chamberlain. Anita Kake Chan. Bianca Chan. Jeffrey Ken Chan. Mengni Chen. Jennifer Chaneta. Michael Joseph John Cheslow. Meng Chi. Patricia Chisnell. Venice Choi. Michelle Chiquino. Michael Sibredi. Andrew Robert Clark. David Kevin Paul Cleland. Margaret Catherine Cogger-O. Italo Conchatori. Gavin Robert Cook. Vanessa Margaret Cotina. Matthew Fordham Coots. Shikwi Kui. Melissa Karan. Daniel Anthony Custodio. Shiriza D'Souza. Victoria Debus. Zayed Dajani. Emily Kathleen Danaher. Alicia Alexandra Del Greco. Alexander Demick. Shinru Dunn. Gagandeep Dat. Diana Dinado. Zachary Moses Di Sabatino. Matthew Joseph Diaz. Mark Anthony Dinizo. Kevin Duan. Anastasia Nina Drohomreki. Sean Joseph Theodore Dwyer. Catherine Suzanne Dyson. Leah Sue Easterling. Emmeline Melissa Edge. Kelvin Matthew Ewald. Christina Fanelli. Alexander Gregory Farrow. Christopher Douglas Fast. Andrea Christine Fernandez. Alison Fowler. Stephanie Fraccaro. Latoya Francis. Miles Arlen Francis. Whitney Georgina Fredrickson. Jenna Lynn Fugioli. Kendra Valerie Gallagher. Zen Shoes Jason Gao. Philip Andrew Genovese. Elvis Jessicki. Alana Page Glenn. Laura Sadie Goldhaber. Laura Michelle Graham. Holly Graham Lamp. Michael Gravina. Brandon Kyle Greenspoon. Manmeet Kaur Grewal. Andrew Charles Griffin. Julia Grishina. Nomaswe Bulabonaski Guebu. Wajia Habib. Nora Halata. Shaoshan He. Bradley Joseph Hendricks. Victoria Margaret Hillier. Helen Kim Hin Tai Ho. Ping Xiu Xia. Mia Yu Huang. James Peter Hutton. Abir Iqbal. Bradley David Masato Iwamoto. Nikita Iyer. Ryan Jenkins. Mu Yuan Zheng. Yizu Zheng. Ali Khan Jiwani. Marcel Kakolja. Deki Kalsang. Leanne Bernadine Kamstra, Yang Yang Kao, Vasilios Konstantinos Karagiannis, David Kerr, Matthew Charles Edward Kerr, Jeffrey David Ketchum, Noor Amina Khalid, Shahrukh Khan, Kriko Watan Kodikian, Matthew Alchan Kim, Janet Kingori, Darren Joan Clute, Natalie Ko, Keith Laughlin Kohler, Jeremy Thomas Codager, Natalie Krushenski, Stephen Kulas, Varun Kumar, Catherine Winka Kwan, Preston Robert Kwan, Saba Lada, Tuse Shan Bianca Lai, Ashley Lamara, Kelsey Lynn Langford, Cherry Ann Lawley, Eddie Lee, Mi Lee, Edward Lee, Stephen Hanjin Lee, Brian Christopher Lehman, Vivian Leung, Craig Leveridge, Erin Lee, Tanya Lim Artak, Ke Shin Lin, Wei Yan Lin, Shin Lin, Yuan Ying Lin, Caitlin Margaret Link, Mei Fei Liu, Wenshin Liu, Yijun Liu, Sarah Emily Longo, Peter Winston Lopez, Christopher Lovell, Manshin Lu, Stefan Lucci, Sin Luk, Connor Ling, Kin Lo Ma, Melissa Mandy McDonald, Thomas Mackey, Jesse Ronald McLean, Navid Magri, Eric James Manalo, Ryan Stephen Martin, Sabrina Suzanne May, Laura Christine McDougall, Patrick Maggie, Graham Thomas Stanley McLeod, Sean Timothy McTeague, Jesse Alexander Melner, Tamim Miri, Renuma Mizan, Joseph A. Modica, Keenan Robert Michael Moore. John Patrick Morrison. Tamara Moskaluk. Emma Mary Mandan. Kenneth Kapui Eng. Anna Nguyen. Matthew James O'Neill. Yan Yi Camille O. Nicholas Oreskowicz. Serena O'Shawn. Justin Manuel Pasiti. Andrew John Daniel Pastoric. Daval Patel. James Douglas Payton. Brianna Peterson. Matthew Gerald Pickowett. Carly Maria Pick. Alex Marius Pugachon. Kamal Perba. Laurie Ann Purchase. Yusuf Kasmia. Rebecca Rita Ragubia. Andrew Cardoso Ramirez. Michael Preston Ramsey. Rajati Lakshmi Pramovardhani Ratnasire. Jordan Ivan Rocky. Michael Rocha. Kyle Rooney. Christopher Amon Rosario. Andrew Jonathan Rose. Vanessa Ruby. Omar Mohammad Saeed, Lavleen Sandhu, Brandon Veerakon Shanukpon, Joey Santos, Lisa Marie Sato, Christina Marie Shattermeyer, Bradley Scott Schner, Laura Michelle Semochak, Alexander Serper, Farah Sheikh, Vitaly Shaposhnikov, Jagannath Sharma, Shenyi Shen, Yankun Shi, Stephen Joshua Schneer, Maria Batul Sial, John Sikima, Jason Sir, Michael Slomjeski, Diana Erika Smirowski, Nicholas Richard Sokolowski, Jordan Corey Eric Savran, Amanda Christine Spagnolo, Harry Sridharan, Brian Steves, Eric Orion Stengel, Gregory Glenn Stewart, Graham Sterling, Lisa Angeli Suarez, Suchana Sundararajan, Monica Chevchek, Tyreem Tayab, Sarah Elizabeth Tam, Shenying Tan, Paul Robert James Tesserny, Daniela Sydney Thomas, Alexandru Tomascu, Robert Tong, Felicia Totorelli, Kira Tot, Patrick Allen Train, Lena Tran, Thuy Lin Tran, Alison Michelle Trewin, Kyle van der Zidden, Brett Michael Vanish, William Richard Van Nest, Dirk Patrick Van der Bosch, Rylan Angus Waco, Christopher Robert Vianney, Laura Marie Vinay, Tessa Vladimirova, Jiru Wang, Xiaodan Wang, Jordan Christopher Weaver, Justin Wei, Brittany Monique Willison, Catherine Margaret Wilson, Charles Wu, Hao Han Shu, Jacqueline Yen, Jason Manhang Yuan, Haris Zabana, Naim Ismail Sada, Shenzang, Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Commerce. Abdulaziz Abu Leila, Syed Murshid Ali, Tatiana Diabru, Peter Jan Demick, Marcel Dante Gully, Brandon Alexander Garilash, Ishwar Guman, Xiu Bin Huang, Adam Patrick Kelly, Elizabeth Lam, Melissa Loffman, Caitlin McNeil, Adam James McCluskey, Chantal Janine Papasodaro, Muhammad Ibrahim Rana, Tanisha Raymond, Matthew Aubrey Siva, Ramsha Shajan, Babli Sira, Sandy Neves Simos, Chi Chung So, Sarah Van Schippen, Jing Wang, Su Ji Yi.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce Mr. Kelvin Ewald, a graduate of the Bachelor of Commerce Honors Program, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Get some distance right here. Okay, there we go. I'm a firm believer that every speech should begin with some sort of joke or icebreaker. And I've racked my brain for the last weekend and I couldn't think of any jokes. So instead I wanted to give a shout out to my sister who's not here today. So Jackie, if you're watching this from South Africa, hey, what's up? So hi everyone, welcome to the 2013 undergraduate commencement ceremony for the DeGroote School of Business. President, Chancellor, Dean Waverman, faculty, honored guests, friends, fellow graduates, family, and everyone else in the room, welcome today and we're very glad to have you here. I'd like to take a moment here to express the extreme amount of gratitude this graduating class has to everyone in the room. All of your support has come in so many different forms in the past 4 years, and we're thankful for each of these today. I'd also like to say thank you to my peers and to the Valedictorian Selection Committee for having the great honor to address you today. In the past 4 years, we've faced a lot of challenges, whether we like to admit it or not, whether they were gauntlet weekend midterms, marathon group projects, calculus class, or just finding time to do our homework while working a part-time job. We've faced these challenges and we've overcome them. That's why we're sitting in this room today. We've come here with similar aspirations, and we've all earned our degrees, which is a great achievement. But we've gone about doing that in a very different way, which I think is a very exciting thought. So my goal for us here today is to celebrate our success and reflect on our experiences. How each of us got into this room is a very important process, and we should all reflect on that. But I'd also like us to think about our success and how we can take that forward and how we can learn from it when we leave these doors today. Graduation is by any definition a great success, so congratulations. Many of us have started or will soon begin careers. We'll buy cars, buy houses, get promotions. These are all symbols of our success. But as people who I know are invested in their self-improvement and who have the capacity to be great leaders, we must challenge ourselves not only in our achievement of success, but also in our definition of it. I think that is a worthy challenge for us going forward. Narrow definitions of success, like the ones I'd listed off previously, houses, cars, titles, these are easy definitions. They're sourced from the public conception of what success means. Great leaders have the ability to broaden their definition of what success is, and in doing so achieve great new things. We need to begin asking ourselves questions like, how can the environment benefit from a deal our company is making? How can we be better parents? Whose perspectives can we adopt? What languages can we learn? What arts can we master? There's a real-world example of someone who is, I guess, the epitome of this constant redefinition of success, and that is Elon Musk. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who that is, but he founded the internet transactions company PayPal a few years ago, which he sold to eBay, I believe, for $1.5 billion. Many of us would consider that amount of money and that achievement of selling that company to be the pinnacle of success. But where many would have stopped, Elon Musk went on to form 3 more companies. He formed SpaceX, SolarCity, and Tesla Motors. If you're familiar with these companies, each of them is currently redefining what we considered profitable, but also possible in the industries they operate in. He's also a philanthropist who donates millions of his own dollars to delivering energy security to disaster-stricken areas of the world and to funding science education programs. But even Elon Musk, this beacon of success and this great person, could still be better. For example, he has 2 failed marriages, quite possibly the result of his dedication to his work. I mean, if you could just imagine being Elon Musk's wife and coming home after a long day of work, and you're trying to get his attention at dinner, and you're greeted with the response, "Not now, honey, I'm trying to commercialize space flight." I know that's a bad joke, and I won't even give you a chance to laugh because it's not that funny. But all jokes aside, this is a person who's dealing with such complex science and business issues on a daily basis that it would be difficult to find anyone in this room who could actually relate to that person on a daily basis. But I think he offers us 2 very tangible lessons in his life. And the first is that through constantly redefining success, Elon Musk has reached great new heights that a lot of us would not have considered possible a few years ago. But the second and perhaps more important lesson I think we can learn from Elon Musk is that there's always room for improvement. Even Elon Musk could be a better and more successful person. I gave one example. I'm not going to speculate as to the grounds on which he was divorced, but that's the example I've chosen to give. So we have succeeded thus far, and that's why we're in this room. And in doing so, we've earned something extremely important, and what we've earned is choice. We now have the choice to work in powerful organizations in Canada and abroad and be leaders in these organizations. We might not see it obviously today, but there may be times in these organizations when we're faced with issues where our values or our passions or our lifestyles even are marginalized. And at that point, we have to make a decision. And while the individual choices we make shape our individual priorities and our individual realities, collectively as a business community, our choices are quite powerful, because collectively as a business community, the choices we are making are shaping the realities and priorities of our organizations and consequently our society. So I think that is the great responsibility of our generation, but also the great opportunity that we have now to be leaders in this exciting new economy. At this point in a typical commencement address, the speaker attempts to identify some sort of legacy the graduating class has left or will leave. And I could speculate as to what that might be, but I think the reality that all of us know is that we are collectively shaping that legacy every time we make a choice from this day forward. So I invite you to celebrate our success today and to think about our experiences at McMaster University. But we need to take that forward. Let us challenge ourselves in our definition of what success means to us and think critically about our choices. Let them be ones that elevate our peers, our families, and our communities, and that reflect always in a positive light on the DeGroote School of Business class of 2013. I think if we make that our goal, our legacy will truly be a great one. Thank you and congratulations.
I would like to introduce the Dean of the DeGroote School of Business, Dr. Leonard Waverman, who will present several awards to the DeGroote School of Business graduates.
Well, I think you all have awards today. All the PhD, MBA, and BCommerce students, you are graduates, so congratulate yourselves. I congratulate you. I remember the words of Mario Capito and Kelvin that you heard this afternoon. This is the beginning, not the end. We at the DeGroote School of Business had given you the tools to succeed, but Kelvin has defined, I think, more appropriately and better than I could what success means. And Mario has told you that it's hard work, determination, responsibility, and community involvement from now on, which will make you what we expect of you to be leaders. It's with great pleasure that I announce the winner of the Alan J. Grieve St. Joseph's Healthcare Medal for outstanding academic achievements in the MBA Health Services Management Specialization, Deepika Lobo. It is with great pleasure that I announce the winner of the Litvak Medal in Marketing for outstanding academic achievements in the MBA Strategic Marketing Specialization, Lindsay McLean.
Congratulations, Lindsay. Litvak was a friend of mine. Best wishes to you.
It is with great pleasure that I announce the winner of the R.J. Spence Memorial Medal for outstanding academic achievements in the MBA S Finance Specialization, Dustin Armstrong. And it's with great pleasure that I announce the winner of the E.H. Ambrose Gold Medal for outstanding academic achievements in the Commerce Program, Calvin Ewald.
I would now like to introduce to you Mr. Mark Stewart, a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Mark will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Wilson, President Dean, Dr. Capito, Dean Waverman, McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, honored guests, and members of McMaster Class 2013. My name is Mark Stewart. I'm the president of the board of directors of McMaster Alumni Association. These business convocations are all special to me. I received my MBA from the DeGroote School of Business in 2010, and I've had the opportunity to engage with a number of today's graduates through their time in McMaster, and from this vantage point, I've been able to observe firsthand as you've developed from eager first-year students into the business professionals that you are as you walk across the stage today. The graduations are always a time to reminisce on the past and to celebrate the moment, but mostly to look towards the future. And because of that, convocations are all filled with words of wisdom, quotes, and thoughts that have stood the test of time, such as what we heard from Dr. Capito today. Well, McMaster's also stood the test of time. Last year, we celebrated our 125th anniversary, and we've held over 500 convocations. We've sent over 165,000 alumni into the world, and today you can find us in over 130 countries. Our alumni are CEOs, doctors, politicians, academics, executives, leaders of all stripes. So we thought, who better to gather wisdom from than people from our own family? So we asked our alumni around the world to send advice to us for new grads like you. We called it the Good Advice Project, and today I get to share a selection of this advice with you. Bill Purser from the class of 1946 told us, upon graduation, do your best to get a job at any level in the work that you love. You'll find that by doing a job you love, you'll soon rise to senior positions. Chuck Simmons from the class of 1958 told us, treasure the close McMaster friendship you developed. Keep in touch with them across the world. Decades may fly by, but shared laughs and experiences will keep you grounded throughout life. We talked to Valerie Barker from the class of 1981. She told us, at the end of the day, always be able to look in the mirror and say, I've done the best that I can today to help people, work hard at life, respect people, and add value. Finally, I'll share from Amanda Gibson, the class of 2006. Don't be scared if you graduate and realize you have no idea what you want to do with your life. Sit down, take a breath, reflect on what you value, on what moves you, and what you're good at. Try to find something that balances all three. Now, my advice for you as an alumni is to remember that when you stepped foot on McMaster campus in first year, you embarked on a lifelong relationship that carries forward far past today's ceremonies. Since I've graduated, the professors that impacted me, they become my friends and my mentors. My classmates, they became people I could trust and who I now do business with. And McMaster became a venue for me to pay it forward, where I can engage with students and pass on the knowledge that was given to me by alumni when I was a student. Now, for many grads, McMaster is an employer. We've heard that it's a place that they're proud to send their children to. It's a place that's undertaking world-leading medical research that one day might save the life of somebody that you love. Now, I recently returned from a trip to Trinidad, where my family's from, where we actually have over 100 alumni, many of them in senior leadership roles in the country. I met with a group of them on the first day I arrived, and during the trip, I spent time with them. We attended events, we discussed doing business together, we looked into ways to promote the McMaster brand in the Caribbean, and really, we just had a great time. Now, upon saying I went to McMaster, there was an instant connection between all of us, and many of them were meeting for the first time. I just say this to reiterate that no matter where you are in the world, what stage of life, what line of work you're in, don't underestimate the value and the breadth of your McMaster network. Now, the association is going to continue inviting advice from our members, including you now, as we'll be asking new grads to provide wisdom to the incoming Mac students. And this support from one generation of McMaster families to the next is important, because every Mac class is very distinct but shares at least two things with each other. The first is the potential you have as graduates of one of the world's truly great universities, one regularly ranked amongst the top 100 in the world. And I know you're business students, so you need some metrics. That means McMaster is ranked often amongst the top 2/3 of 1% in the world. Now, the second is that we all share a familial connection with McMaster and with each other. We have a responsibility to build on the legacy that we've inherited. So the association's purpose is to help you maintain that connection. You're now part of Mac 10, which is a program that's specifically designed for grads of the last decade. The Alumni magazine, the McMaster Times, will begin arriving in your mailbox, and we look forward to having you join us in our online community. So you can connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and we look forward to having you join your fellow alumni at one of hundreds of events that we hold every year from here in Hamilton, across Canada, and across the world. Now, on Saturday, MBA grads are going to participate in the second DeGroote MBA Legacy Ring Conferring event. And you'll be able to join alumni such as myself, who proudly wear our DeGroote MBA rings, and are united by a shared experience and a permanent reminder of our time here and the privileges and responsibilities that come with our degrees. So like many of you realize through the clubs and associations that you're part of, hosting NBA games, putting on events like Mars Apprentice and Focus 2040, you realize that the greatness of what you're involved in is a direct result of what you've done to make it great. So as your McMaster relationship transitions from student to alumni, the leadership opportunities remain, but the question now becomes, what are you going to do to make the McMaster and DeGroote alumni communities that you're part of great? Someone who exemplifies this legacy of greatness is our Chancellor. He's a proud member of the class of 1962, and someone to whom the McMaster Alumni Association just bestowed our highest honor, the Distinguished Service Award. This is Dr. Wilson's final convocation season, so on behalf of the association, I thank him for his dedication as a philanthropist, volunteer, and advocate. So to the class of 2013, we celebrate your success as students and toast the promise of your bright futures as alumni. Your fellow Mac grads are proud to today welcome you into the McMaster alumni family. Thank you.
May I invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver the President's address.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be able to speak at this event and to share in the celebration with all of our graduates. It's a ceremony that has been wonderful, as Convocation always is. This is a celebration of all of you and of your individual achievements, of the McMaster family, in which, as of today, you have succeeded to a different kind of membership, and of our society, which accords to universities a privileged status and generous support, in return for which we provide not only brilliant and energetic leaders for tomorrow, but also the new ideas and discoveries that will shape and transform our future. Convocation is a communal event because it celebrates our community, its values, and its aspirations. This is a time, as Kelvin suggested, to contemplate where you fit in, not only within the McMaster community, although Mark certainly gave you some good ideas about that, but more broadly, how you fit into our society and into our world. 3 years ago, at my first McMaster convocation, I tried to describe where I saw myself fitting in and spoke about an idea I described as education as integrity, about my belief that education is diminished in value and in its effect when it falls out of touch with the full range of human concerns and experiences. In keeping with that belief, the question I would ask you to consider today is this: where will your university education eventually find its value? And where would you hope to see its greatest effect? How will your life as a proud holder of a McMaster degree intersect with and address the large questions facing our species and our planet? Ronald Dworkin, the eminent legal philosopher from whom I quoted on this platform 3 years ago, identifies the issue in this way, and this is a quote from Dworkin. Living must be more than finding oneself pulled by unexamined habit through worn grooves of expectation and reward. No respectable or even intelligible theory of value, he writes, supposes that making and spending money has any value or importance in itself, and almost everything people buy with that money lacks any importance as well. That's a quote from Dworkin. Dworkin is concerned to prompt us to be always mindful of the value of what we do, and to understand value in qualitative rather than quantitative terms. And value is something that arises from and resides in relationships, in between people, between people and things, between people and ideas, and it is to be measured, if at all, in effect. Dworkin expresses the theory beautifully, but rather bleakly in this way. He says, "The only value we can find in living in the foothills of death as we do is adverbial value." In other words, how we live is a question of value. That we live and die is merely a matter of fact. Ronald Dworkin died at the age of 81 in February of this year. And in his last major work, published in 2011, he sought to provide an overview of his thinking, one which drew all the strands of political philosophy and moral philosophy and the theory of interpretation and all of these things together. And he gave that book a charming, if somewhat enigmatic title. Justice for Hedgehogs is what he called it. Now, the title, as Dworkin tells us, is actually derived from a fragmentary line from an ancient Greek poet called Archilochos, which was popularized in the 20th century by the philosopher Isaiah Berlin. And this is the line. It goes this way: "The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing." It's a very enigmatic phrase, and this is the only fragment of this poem that remains from Archilochos. But Dworkin uses it to contrast two ways of viewing the world. The first approaches phenomena as serial, as separate, as individual, as isolable things, while the second, that is to say the view of the hedgehog, sees them as not merely connected, but integrated, sees a life, sees creation as a singularity. This comes back to the question of where you find value. For Dworkin, value is one big thing. Now, I won't try to unpack this assertion in all its complexity, except to refer you back to my observation that value is something which resides in relationships, that has no existence outside of relationships. At one level, this simply means that the realm of ethics and morals is community, the network of relationships through which we have an opportunity to do more than merely live. It also means, and this is really important, that moral and ethical values are of necessity interconnected and interdependent. A life does not realize its value through compartmentalization. Consider this: to be ruthless and uncompromising in the office, in the workplace, yet loving and solicitous at home, in the family. What kind of a life is this? And what can we say about its value? If value resides in the adverbs which describe our actions and the adjectives which describe us, how does that equation, which links ruthless and loving, work out? Does it resolve as zero value? Only the hedgehog knows. The point about the hedgehog's view that is worth remembering is this: the value of a life is the sum of its qualitative interactions with the world, immediate and remote, direct and indirect, private and public, professional, recreational. And integrity, as we commonly understand the word, resides in the consistency with which we apply ourselves in all of these realms. We have integrity when we act not according to values that change with circumstance, but as if our value as persons were one big thing, with all aspects of our lives continuous and interconnected. Now, today is an appropriate day, notwithstanding Dworkin's very critical comments about the value of money and of what can be bought with it, to turn to the world of finance, which does provide an analogy useful for thinking about the project of being a worthwhile human being. In the same way that your accountant won't allow you in the final analysis to separate your assets from your liabilities, won't let you ignore the latter and concentrate on the former just because to do so makes you feel wealthier, the hedgehog insists that in accounting for the value of your being on earth, everything must be counted in. This is how Dworkin expresses the bottom line. If we want to live well, the focus must be on what we must do for and not do to other people. I bring you back to Kelvin's message. Now, in anticipation for today's convocation ceremony, many of you, I'm certain, will have invested in some new clothes. This was obvious as I sat here. A new shirt, a tie, a dress, shoes perhaps. Now, I'm not a shopping theorist or expert, merely like most people, an occasionally enthusiastic amateur. But I know that into your deliberations at the clothing rack will sooner or later have come thoughts about the value of the garment you were thinking of buying. A primary consideration for most people would be the asking price, which, as you move from considerations of affordability and then to use, turns into an assessment of the garment's value. And typically, the context within which we find and attribute value to a shirt or a dress is rather narrow. It may earn you cachet in your fashionable circle. It may say something about you that you once said. Or it may simply delight your eye. If you're fond of beautiful things, the famous statement from St. Thomas, pulchrum estit quod visum placet, beauty is that which, being seen, pleases. Things have an inherent kind of value sometimes. But value, in general, is neither essential nor tautological. Things have different value for different people in different circumstances. And in the kind of commercial moment I've just been describing, the hapless garment becomes simply a nexus for various intersecting value propositions. Yours, the stores, the manufacturers, the advertisers. And it's in the interest of all of those people, especially the retailer, to keep the context within which you assess the value of their commodity simple and narrow, to compartmentalize the buyer with the product so that only value of the most personal kind can be attributed or discovered. Going back to Archilochus's contrast between the hedgehog and the fox, I would say that commerce functions by making foxes of us all. It encourages us to encounter the world serially and without reference to the one big thing. I wonder if you know where I'm going with this. After the April 24th collapse of the Rana Plaza garment factory in Bangladesh, killing more than 1,100 workers, can shopping for clothes ever again be the kind of fox-like, somewhat self-involved activity I've been describing? No doubt for some people it can and will. There will be those whose capacity for compartmentalization is so advanced that exploitation and human suffering expended in the production of a garment does not factor in their assessment of its value to them. I thought of this recently in the men's section of a well-known department store where for the first time I noticed, because recent events had prompted me to look, that by far the majority of shirts available were made in Bangladesh, whereas we all recently learned a worker's life is sometimes cheap to her employer, and where the minimum monthly salary for a garment worker is 3,000 takas, or $38 approximately half of what my Canadian retailer is asking me to pay for one of the thousands of shirts shipped from that factory. My purpose today is not to debate the merits and demerits of commerce or to venture into the realm of business ethics, where I know, particularly today, as a professor of literature, I would be foolish to tread. Instead, I've seized upon the Bangladesh garment workers' tragedy and our daily involvement with it through the clothes we buy and wear as an illustration of why it is impossible to live a good life without taking the hedgehog's view, without understanding that value, as we ascribe it to our lives, to others, and to objects, is one big thing. Or rather, we must at all times behave as if it is one big thing. The inhumane treatment of workers in Bangladesh must be reckoned by me as I assess the value of a garment I'm being invited to purchase. If I do not do that, my own value as a human being is diminished. Only connect. That is, if I might borrow from a character in a novel by E.M. Forster, the substance of what I've been saying. He has a character that's forced to say, live in fragments no longer. In Dworkin's analogy, it is the hedgehog who sees the world in its interconnectedness and who understands his own value in being of the whole and acting for the good of the whole. This convocation ceremony provides an opportunity to ask you to take your McMaster degrees and go out into the world in the same spirit, if not confident in your ability to transform the world, at least determined to live in it with integrity and with dignity. Farewell, hedgehogs. Thank you.
Thank you, President Dean, for those wise and inspirational remarks. In fact, there have been many wise and inspirational thoughts today. Dr. Cupido, Kelvin, Mark, Dr. Dean, words of advice for all of you that reflect the human considerations in where you're heading next. And I very much hope that you take some of those words to heart. It's been almost 50 years since I entered the business world, business graduates. And the one observation I would make is that the pace of change in business, in all aspects of business, in technology, in consumer and manufacturing behavior, has moved so quickly that the challenges and opportunities that you face today are of different dimensions from what I faced when I entered my business life. It's more exciting, in a sense, because things are happening much more quickly. It's also much more challenging to deal with opportunities and the challenges that all of that represents. I wish you all the very best of luck. Luck is an important piece in the puzzle, I've discovered, and I hope you get more than your fair share of luck in your business careers. I realize that we're now coming on to 2.5 hours in this ceremony, and that I'm all that stands between you and some refreshments, perhaps family gatherings, and I certainly wouldn't want to detain you any further, but simply to add my best wishes to you all. Immediately following the convocation, a reception will be held for business graduates and their guests in Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room C. Flowers that have been delivered for graduates will be available at the coat check in the main lobby. I'd ask you to please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. I'd ask you now to rise and join with me in singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.